But do you feel like coaching LeBron makes the Lakers' job more or less enticing, considering where he is in his career?
It's a blessing and a curse because you get to coach a historically great player. Everybody would love to coach a Magic or Larry Bird or Steph Curry or Michael Jordan or LeBron James. But you know what comes along with that? Expectations. Expectations that you win the title every year, which are unrealistic, but that's the expectations that great players come along with. And so, yes, first of all, I'm coaching the Lakers in the Lakers organization, and I'm coaching one of the greatest players to have ever played the game. And he's currently playing, and I get an opportunity to coach that, to be around that. How many opportunities do you get a chance to say, I got an opportunity to coach a Mount Rushmore player? Well, this is what he would have had. But do you understand the expectations? And with Stephen A. and Legs, you know this. The West is crowded. But fans in Lakerland, they don't care nothing about no crowded West. You are the Lakers. You're LeBron James. The expectations are Lakers win. They won in Minneapolis. They come here in the 70s and they won, even though they had a tough time in the 60s getting past the Celtics. They finally won. And then you got Magic and Kareem that win 5. You get Shaq and Kobe that won 3-peated. And then you get Kobe get another 2. No, the expectations are that you gotta win. So it's a blessing and a curse because I get an opportunity to coach in a historic franchise and I coach a historic player. But damn, man, y'all, these are unfair expectations. And to coach that guy, those guys, they're different now. This is a different animal now. Guys, these superstars, they wield a heavy hammer. They got a lot of power that the old superstars didn't have.
Go ahead, Legs.
Yeah, look, Shannon, I think you're right. I think there's two parts to this. I agree with what you said about getting an opportunity to coach somebody like this. And not just the fact that it's a historic figure, but also if you're a first-time NBA head coach, there's things you can learn from LeBron about what this league looks like, how to operate, certain things to do. So that's the bonus side. But I'm going to focus on the less enticing part. Because for me, it comes down to this. Guys that succeed at the collegiate level to the extent that Danny Hurley has are control freaks. You don't get to that position unless you are. And you want to be the guy that ultimately is pulling all the strings and you feel like you're in control of every element of the situation. Doesn't mean that you can't delegate, because that's very important as a coach to delegate to his staff. But at the end of the day, it's about you. Your vision for it, you want to get the guys you want. You want to coach them how you want. And when you get to the NBA level, that's a completely different scenario. So I think part of that was just simply it's not going to be as fulfilling for Danny Hurley to go coach this team as it is what he's got right now, what he has built, getting young men to come in there, get them to run through a wall, mold them into the type of team you want. Coach them as hard as you want to coach them every single day. Demand what you want to demand from them. That's not what we're talking about at the NBA level in general, but certainly not next to a guy like LeBron James that we all know is going to make most of the decisions, particularly offensively, that your team is engaged in. Trip after trip after trip. It's just not as fulfilling for a college coach to do that right now. Now, look, one day Danny Hurley might be wired more to get to that level in terms of his demeanor, temperament, his willingness to accept less control, to be in a winning environment at that level, at the highest level of basketball. I don't think he's there now. He's wired to do what he's doing right now, and ultimately that is what he was thinking about on those 2 cross-country flights and what he thought about all weekend spending time with his family.
You know, it's interesting because neither of you are wrong, but you left something out. I remember Michael Jordan saying, we ain't doing a damn thing. I'm not going. If Phil is gone, I'm gone. Legler, Shannon, Sharpe, name one time we've heard LeBron James speak up for a coach. It's never happened. I didn't sit up there and say, excuse me. Speaking up for Ty Lue? Come on now. I mean, you know better. Now, he ain't throwing anybody under the bus, but you know he could have spoke up more. Hell, it's LeBron James. If LeBron James really spoke up, wouldn't Ty Lue have been that damn coach for the Los Angeles Lakers? I know there's elements that came into it.
We don't get involved in coaching stuff. We don't get involved in stuff like that, Steve.
That's what we doing. That's what we doing. That's what we doing. He's so full of it. He's so full of it. Right, here's the deal, y'all. Here's the deal. And I'm not, listen, I don't know this. I'm putting on my reporter's hat now and telling you what we've heard. You know what we've heard, Legs, Shannon? LeBron James doesn't want to be coached. We've heard that by coaches. Is it probably inaccurate? Sure. Because I think coaches can be spoiled in their own right and they could be a bit too literal at times and too excessive. But because he's a basketball savant, because he's so brilliant of a player on the court and such a brilliant mind in the game of basketball, it's pretty difficult for a coach to know more than LeBron or to convince LeBron that he knows just as much, if not more. And so as a result of that, we now have to ask ourselves, look at what you just brought up, Shannon, about the money that the Lakers put on the table. Look at that and how they came in 6th place. When you combine that, what did you talk about, Legs? Again, the money is indicative of the absence of control. Because if you're not willing to go all out and say, we want this cat just as much, guess what? We're going to pay him Steve Kerr money. We're going to pay him Greg Popovich money. We're going to pay him Eric Spoelstra money, right? There's an absence of control that coach is going to have when you're coming at him and saying, we're going to make you the 6th highest paid coach, acting like that should be such an honor because you're the Lakers franchise. So the combination of all of those things now brings LeBron James into focus even more because then I got to ask myself about coaching him. And you know I'm going to talk to other coaches. You know I'm going to ask them about what do you hear about him? What is it like to coach him? What is it like to coach Anthony Davis, et cetera, et cetera? All of those things are going to come into play,
Great.
and it's going to play a pivotal role in you making the decision, yay or nay, as to whether or not you want to be there. And the people who are going to take the job are ones that say, you know what? What's the chances of me getting a better job than this? Usually people who believe they have a chance of getting a better job have chosen someone other than the Los Angeles Lakers. That is a fact.
Legs, you mentioned something. A college coach, those guys are 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Where are they trying to get to? The NBA. When you go coach in the NBA, where are those guys? In the NBA. So how the hell you going to tell me what to do? I make more money than you.
Right.
A college coach always makes more than a college player, and he's going to listen to everything that you have to say for the most part because he's trying to get to the next level, and he genuinely believes you have his best interest, and you know the best route for him to get there. When you get to the NBA, every player you coach is in the NBA. Half the players, you got a 12-man roster, 9 of them make more than the head coach. So how the hell you going to tell me what to do? And then you dealing with LeBron James. We're talking about one of the many people believe he's the smartest player ever. Even if you don't concede that he's the best, a lot of people believe he has the greatest recollection. He can recall plays, his knowledge of the game. And then you come in there never having coached in the NBA, never won a title in the NBA. Hey, LeBron, this is what I think we should run. Huh? Go take a lap. Go run suicide. That's what you gonna do. You go run suicide. I ain't running nothing. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw the AD. This is what we're gonna do. Hey, D-Lo or AR,
well, they've done
give me
it.
the ball here.
Yeah. The report stated that was one of the things that hurt Darvin Ham, that on a couple of occasions there was a big story that was written, if I remember correctly. That's exactly what they did to Darvin Ham.
Yeah, here's one other component to this, guys. Think about this now. When you're a college coach and you are highly coveted when you're changing jobs, and we see these guys bouncing around, right? When you're Danny Hurley and the day you took the UConn job, whether you had won at UConn yet or not, because you hadn't the day you got hired, you are the program from day one. And then when you go and win, on top of it, then it's all about you. Like, this is you. Danny Hurley is UConn. That's not what it is at the NBA. I don't care where you go or what you're bringing with you or the championships you won in college or what your name is, your resume, or how much people respect you and your knowledge of the game and all of those things. It's not you. It's LeBron's situation. That's you're basically injecting yourself into it. I think that matters to guys that have massive egos. And look, that's not a negative I'm saying about Danny Hurley. They all do. As highly successful people in sports do. Coaches, players, you name it. They all have big egos. And there is a level, right, of that at the NBA, when you're coaching in the NBA, that you don't get to feel. And I do think that matters to it. He likes knowing that this is his. He crafted this situation at UConn. He's in full control. He wouldn't have that in LA.
I got a couple of text messages in the last 2 minutes. No coach has ever said that about LeBron James. Let me say this to those people. Now you crossing the damn line. I don't make anything up. Now, I'm not saying they're right, but don't tell me what somebody said about LeBron James. There are a couple of coaches who have said that. Now, I'm not saying they're right. I don't know. I look at LeBron James, and as far as I'm concerned, he's a basketball savant. He knows more than most coaches and stuff like that. But to sit up there and say no coach has ever said that about LeBron James, that's a damn lie. They have said that about LeBron James. They wouldn't say it publicly. It wouldn't be in their best interest to say it publicly. But make no mistake about it, they've said it. Ask the reporters. Ask people like Mike Wilbon, who's covered the sport for decades. Have they heard coaches say that about LeBron James? Yes, the hell they have. It is true that that's what's being said. It may not be true in terms of their accuracy, but have they said that about him? Yes, they have. That's all I wanted to say.
You know, guys, it's a rarity that you find a head coach and he's allowed to coach a star player hard. Coach Belichick coached Tom Brady like he coached everybody else. Greg Popovich coached Tim Duncan like he coached everybody else. There are not a whole lot of occasions that we can say a head coach coached a historic or transcendental player to that level that he coached him the same as he coached everybody else on the roster. So for a guy, Tim Duncan, to take it because he understood, Tom Brady understood, the other players will fall in line if they see him correct me and I don't get blown out of proportion. It'll be easier to coach the team. And that's why they won.
But that's your point.
They are the standard.
I'm going to give you, can I give you another name? I'm going to give you another name, too. Eric Spoelstra's another name.
I was going there. That's where I was going.
He coached those guys hard, not just LeBron and D. Wade when he got that group together, but the Jimmy Butler teams, the Bam Adebayos. He coaches them a certain way. You know what it comes down to for me? And just real quick, Stephen A., as a guy in an NBA locker room being on teams, you know what I always respected and everybody in the locker room respects? It comes down to one word. It's accountability. When the coach makes the star players accountable in a film session, on a walkthrough, they say, if you're going to get all the credit when we win, well, damn, you better take some of the blame for why we're not playing well right now.
Hey, Legs and Shannon, two things. Number one, Shannon, you pointed it out because it might not be about when you say he doesn't want to be coached. It might not be about X's and O's. It might be about, you know, you don't want somebody in your face holding you accountable like you just any other player. It might be just that, why they said that, but they said it. And number two, Legs, real quick, is Eric Spoelstra universally considered one of the great coaches in the NBA and a future Hall of Famer, yes or no?
Absolutely. For me, he's at the top of the list.
What? Okay, he's at the top of the list. Is it true, Legler? Am I making it up that LeBron James didn't want him there? And Pat Riley was like, oh, I'll be damned. He ain't going nowhere.
Make it work.
You know the other person that helped in that situation, especially when they started off 8-9 or whatever they were in the beginning? Dwayne Wade told LeBron James, this is the dude. Trust me. This is the guy.
You don't want Riley.
It took time. It took time for obviously the way that that's played out, and we know what Eric Spoelstra is and what he has been regarded ever since. But yeah, in the beginning, there's no doubt. There was a lot of people wondering, is this job too big for Eric Spoelstra? And then they start out the way they did. Both of those stars were deferring to each other too much, stepping on each other's toes. Before you know it, they're going on a long winning streak, and the rest is history. We know what that team was able to pull off over the next 4 years. But yes, Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley together collectively, I think helped quell that situation before the anxiety built to a point where there was going to be so much skepticism built into it. It was going to be hard for Eric Spoelstra to succeed. They survived that in an early push. The rest has been all roses for Eric Spoelstra ever since in terms of how he's regarded.
Y'all know I'm available to coach that. Hey, I'm just drawing up these plays for LeBron. So when I come in there and run that thing in training camp, I'm just drawing these plays up, Stephen. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing, Stephen. Don't worry about it. Y'all go ahead right ahead.
All you doing is drawing up the plays he sent to you. That's all you doing. You drawing up the plays he sent to you.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA over here, feeling fun.